Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X. And Ish isn't here just yet, but he will join us in just a second. As always, if you are on Facebook, please make sure you go ahead and like and share this broadcast. If you are on our Facebook page, go ahead and hit that like button. And as well on YouTube, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button and that notification bell you can be notified for shows like this one on in the future. Ding. Thank you for that, Ish. Unfortunately, since he's not here at the moment, I got a feeling for him. And as well on Twitter, go ahead and check us out on Periscope at X Talking Ish. On Periscope, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, that's where we're going to be at. I'm also going to go ahead and retweet everything on my personal page at X_Williams81. I'm doing that right now as we speak. Alrighty then. With that being said, like I said before, Ish will be joining us in just a couple of minutes. He had to take care of some grown man business, so he'll join us in just a second. Since we did start off a little bit late this morning, I'm going to go ahead and rush through some of these games, mainly because I'm not trying to be here all morning. I got things to do, just like y'all got things to do, so we're going to keep this short and simple. All right, let's go ahead and get straight to the first game. Raiders and Bills. I'm pretty sure, again, if my co-host Ish was here, he probably would agree with me when it comes to, I still don't know how this Raiders team is and it was going to be moving forward. I'm still a little lost on how they beat the Broncos, and when the Broncos were playing at home. That's a game that the Broncos, I'm pretty sure, are going to have to look back later on in the schedule and say, how do we let that one go, especially depending on how these two teams start projecting themselves later on in the season. Funny stat for Bills and Bills fans, after a 4-turnover game for Josh Allen, the next game after those 4-turnover game, he has won every single game. So I don't know what to do with that other than pick the Buffalo Bills to win this game. I'm expecting the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen to have a bounce back game, especially being at home. And I'm gonna be honest, and I hope, and when Ish joins us, I want to throw this back to him. If the Bills go down 0-2 and they lose to the Raiders at home, there is going to be trouble in Buffalo because there should be no reason why you guys are starting the season off 0-2. So again, especially to a Raiders team who has Jimmy G starting as their quarterback. And no disrespect to Jimmy G, he just, he's mediocre. Josh Allen, depending on who you ask, is supposed to be in that elite tier. Sometimes, depending on his play, he might drop down to that tier 2 or even tier 3. But Josh Allen, this is a very interesting development after Brian Daboll has left the stable of coaches in that Bills organization. My opinion, I think that Brian Daboll is the reason why Josh Allen has so much success. Obviously, that's the reason why he got a head coaching job in New York and trying to do the same with Danny Jones. But Josh Allen seems like he's missing him more than he would think that he thought that he was going to. This is dating back since last year. So it'll be interesting to see if the Buffalo Bills can bounce back from that horrible performance on Monday Night Football last week. Again, that was a game that if you're a Buffalo fan, you're supposed to win. Aaron Rodgers is out literally the first drive of the game, and the Bills did not capitalize. So if you go down 0-2 to the Raiders, it's going to be very interesting. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Ravens versus the Bengals, a AFC North rivalry. And my boy Ishmael is joining us in just a couple more seconds. So go ahead and patch him in right quick. How you doing this morning there, my brother?
You know, man, dealing with sick children and everything. It is
We're Fajas. Yeah, we're Fajas. So we gotta take care of the things around here. I only got through one game because I wanted to wait on for you and whatnot. But I'm gonna go ahead and just bring back the Raiders Bills games right quick for you. I want to hear what you have to say about this. We'll go ahead and move on.
Don't call it a comeback, call it a bounce back. Yeah, I think that I didn't like what I saw from the Raiders in their first game. I thought they did enough to win the game, but nothing too special. It's a typical Jimmy G performance, and I expect Josh Allen and the Bills to bounce back. This is the perfect kind of game for them to bounce back in. Also, I mean, other than the 4 turnovers, everything was looking okay for the Bills up until that point. So you got to expect them to win a game like this against an opponent like this, especially at home. So yeah.
And I'll wrap it up with a bow. Like I told the audience, after a 4 turnover game from Josh Allen, every game afterwards he has won. So he's 8-0 so far with that stat. Also, let's get to the comment section right quick. Fresh Wanda says, let's get it. Week 2 is here. It's going to be a great Sunday after that Buffalo's game last night. And of course, yes, sir, if you stayed up until about 2 in the morning, East Coast or Central Time, 1 o'clock in the morning, we were I have never seen in my life so many people up late night to watch not just a Pac-12 game, but a Colorado Buffalo game. That was unheard of. Unheard of. The prime effect is real.
Colorado
you can
Colorado
hate on it all you want to. You can hate on it all you want to, but it's real. Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's go ahead and move on. All right, Ravens, Bengals. Another AFC North matchup here. The interesting thing for the Bengals is that you have back-to-back division matchups that you have to play the first couple weeks of the season. And then, of course, obviously Joe Burrow was out that off season, so he wasn't really able to get the preseason reps that he needed to get. And I'm pretty sure, Ish, you're on the same page with me when it comes to I have to look at this game as a bounce-back game for the Bengals, mainly because of just how pitiful performance that they put on last week. I think overall the Ravens are a better overall team. But also, of course, losing J.K. Dobbins last week, that definitely does hurt. And I'm wondering, and I really do wonder if this is something that's psyche-wise within the Ravens organization, like, shit, here we go again type thing. You feel me? When it comes to just these injuries, I don't think it's something that we'll have to look out for the Ravens throughout the season. I don't think they're going to be dropping off like flies every week. But for my opinion, I think the Bengals come out and play with some extra motivation. I'm pretty sure Jamar Chase is going to feel some type of way because he was talking all that mess about the Browns and the little L's got to him. So, I think this game, as we've seen also all week long, we haven't heard any chirping from either team. This is a business trip type of performance for the Bengals, and it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, this is a really big game. As big as early season games get, just from a tone standpoint, just from a setting things up as far as your division goes. Because when you think about it, the Ravens get an opportunity not only to start 2-0, but they get an opportunity to put a division rival 0-2 at the beginning of the season. And we all know everybody loved pulling the stats of teams that make the playoffs after starting 0-2.
So 17% type thing.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, it's like this is a really, really big game, just from a tone standpoint, just from a trend standpoint. There's so much that is going on here, and like you said, the Bengals, they definitely need to bounce back, because when you look at them in only 142 total yards in your first game, man. I don't care who you are.
That should come from the quarterback that's the highest paid player ever in the NFL.
Man, unacceptable. I think that they are going to bounce back. I think that they're going to pull a tight one out. I think the Ravens are going to keep it really close. They're going to be in this because, like I said, it's big for them. They definitely want to go 2-0 and put the Bengals 0-2. But I just think the Bengals are going to have a little bit more motivation in this game.
Now, shout out to my brother Xavier Green. This is my boy Big X. He says, my favorite podcast before the games. Keep it up, fellas. We appreciate the love as always. Bro. Now, he might not love us right now, though, because we are picking against his team. As you can see, he is a Ravens team. But I will say, though, and true, he's correct. He said Lamar didn't have a preseason snap also. You're not wrong, but also Lamar wasn't battling an injury. But again, there's no excuses. This is the NFL. We in the regular season now. Ain't no excuses. Nobody give a damn about your injury. Nobody give a damn about Aaron Rodgers being out for the rest of the season. Welcome to sports. It's next man up. That's just how it is. Okay. But again, for this game, it's going to be close. I don't expect the Ravens to be blown out. I'll be honest with you. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the Ravens win this game. But if the Bengals do go down 0-2, they probably are the best team to do it, to go down 0-2 because they've been there, done that before. I'm not saying they'll go make it back to the Super Bowl, but it wouldn't be unfamiliar territory for them. Fracture Walnut says it's not just 0-2, it's 0-2 within the division. That would be a truly bad start to this season. You're not wrong, Fracture. You're not wrong at all. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Chiefs and Jaguars. Ish, I'll let you start this one off.
Yeah, I mean, this is very straightforward. You know, a rematch of last year's playoff matchup, and I mean, you get Travis Kelsey back, you get Chris Jones back. You definitely gonna want. You had a longer week because you played early, so you know you definitely want to come out here and bounce back. I mean, I guess it's the theme for a lot of teams this week,
Pretty
but
much.
you know, I think the Chiefs definitely have to. When you look at this, you're looking at them playing against the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're looking at them going on the road to Jacksonville. You have to go in there. You got to score early, get up on them early, take the crowd out of it, and then ride that out to a victory. Or else Jacksonville will find a way to win this game. I think Jacksonville is a lot better than they were last year. Obviously, after week one, when you look at the weapons that they're able to acquire, Calvin Ridley, I mean, comes in and immediately starts off on the right foot. So
100 done, 100 yards.
man, you have to look at Jacksonville this year as a big threat to any team, any of the contending teams. And my biggest matchup I think I'm watching is Calvin Ridley in this receiving group and Trevor Lawrence against this
The secondary,
secondary
yeah, that's
for
the big
Kansas City,
matchup right there.
because that has been the weakness for Kansas City. And last week we saw with no pressure on the quarterback, they just are not able to hold up. So we're gonna have to see, is there gonna be a difference? I expect there to be a difference with Jones returning. I expect them to use the long week to scheme up and do what they need to do. But ultimately, I think this is gonna still be a close game.
I love Greg's comment. He says Chiefs should bounce back with
Good. You're
Kelsey
right.
and Chris
Should.
Jones. Well, in my industry, in the world of technology, the word "should" is a very bad word because we always say it should work, it should do this, it should do that. But unfortunately, that's not necessarily the case all of the time. With that
Mhm.
being said, I do have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning this game, and I know that sounds unheard of for the Chiefs to go down 0-2 in the season, especially with a guy like Patrick Mahomes at the helm. But call me crazy, but I look at this game kind of like the Colorado State game. What I mean by that is you have a team that's coming in, the Chiefs, that has of course the quarterback, that has the great coach, that has this, that has that. I'm not saying they have the hype of the hoopla. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying they're a team that we already know about, right?
Mhm.
Jacksonville Jaguars still have a little bit more of a questioning. We don't know how real they are. To I would say more for the casual fan, people like me and you. We are seeing these Jacksonville Jaguars grow right in front of our eyes, especially with last week's performance as well. I think this is another coming out party for them. I think they actually get the job done, unlike Colorado State last night. I Even though the Kansas City Chiefs are a 3.5 point favorite on the road, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars win this game straight out. And like you said, the matchup really is Calvin Ridley versus this secondary. If Calvin Ridley goes off for another 100 yards, still got Christian Kirk on the roster as well too. People forgot about as well, right? I mean, and then
Man,
of course ETN. I think ETN is going to eat
yeah,
that up as well
ETN out
too.
of the backfield is a
So
big threat
if this offense gets moving, it's going to be a long day for the Chiefs
all
defense.
day.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Chargers and the Titans. And of course, I'll take this one off first.
Yeah, please.
Interesting game. Very, very interesting game. Ish, you alluded to earlier, bounce back of a show today for a lot of different teams to try to bounce back from. If I'm the Titans, if you don't win this game today, this is going to be a very, very interesting turn of events moving forward for the rest of the season because you're going to have to really, really reevaluate your team, right? Ish, because if you want to get better moving forward, you might have to start figuring out. Look, are we going to start making some trades? Maybe, or we're going to have to go ahead and just blow this up because I think defensively, and I'll still stand by this. Defensively, I think they are a top five defense. That's not the issue. And again, we saw it last week against the Saints. The Saints are a really good team. I think the Saints can be in the conference championship game for the NFC. So for the Titans to only hold the Saints to 16 points, that is very impressive. Obviously, the offense didn't show up, right? So It's on the Titans for the offense to figure this out. DeAndre Hopkins, and then also offensive coordinator Tim Kelly trying to figure out how are we going to play Derrick Henry correctly, because there should be no reason why a backup running back get more touches and also plays than Derrick Henry. With that being said, I do like this Chargers team. I'm very high on this Chargers team, and I do think they can reach heights that is the only team that's really stopping them is themselves, and of course Brandon Staley. But for right now, I'm taking the Titans mainly because they are playing at home. They need this win way more than the Chargers need this win, and if they don't get it, they're gonna have to start looking themselves in the mirror and trying to figure out who this man is that they're looking at. Because right now, it's not this rough and tough Titans defense and team that we like to watch grind it out to the fourth quarter to come out with a win. Fracture Wanda says, does Mike go on the hot seat if they lose this game? I don't think so much Mike Vrabel goes on the hot seat. I think, if anything, this will be a mulligan year for him because of just everything that he's been able to accomplish in the past years. I mean, just 2 years ago, he was coach of the year, right? So, I mean, as a Titans organization, it'd be silly of us to let him go. We need to get better player. I mean, and then also bringing in Hopkins, I've never was a fan of, but we'll see how that all plans out. I'll leave my comments for another day. I don't want to go on this right now. We'll talk about that later. Ish.
No, I love everything you said. I love everything you said because it is 100% true. I think the reason why I'm picking against the Titans is because I did make a bold prediction that all three quarterbacks would play this season, and this would be the beginning of that coming to fruition. I think
you look at last week. So bad. I know you do.
Oh man, I do. You look at last week in Ryan Tannehill, 198, 3 interceptions. Derrick Henry, 15 carries, 63 yards, and DeAndre Hopkins, 7 receptions for only 65 yards. That right there is unacceptable when you think of the expectations for this team coming in. I know a lot of people were predicting the Jags to win the AFC South. A lot of people were talking about the Jags, this being their year. But don't forget, this Titans team, they're not a bad team. They're not a team that had a significant drop-off. If anything, it's always been the talk has always been about whether or not they have the right guy under center to help them make it to past the Chiefs, past the Bills, past some of these other teams. So when you're thinking about the Tennessee Titans and you think about them going into week 1 and not scoring any touchdowns at all, and the offense having that kind of performance, that speaks to something larger going on in that locker room. And for that very reason, I'm going to pick the Chargers. I think the Chargers got a little more going for themselves. I mean, I know that they lost last week, but they didn't lose a terrible game. They played very well. Austin Eckler is going to be out with the ankle injury, but I still think they got all the other weapons there. They have all those pieces. Those pieces were working. It's not like they are not working or they're having problems as in Tennessee. So I think that LA is going to find a way. And don't forget, we're talking about Tennessee and them having to find themselves. The Chargers also have to find themselves because the Chargers have been, for the past couple of years, in the conversation of maybe this is the year they beat the Chiefs. Maybe this is the year they win the AFC West. And then they just keep losing these games that they're either leading or really close at the end of games. And I think Brandon Staley is going to start feeling the heat. He's on the seat. Trust and believe he is on the hot seat. And you drop a game like this, I know that it's on the road. I know that it's against a team that was in the playoffs last year. Doesn't matter. You got to go out and win this game.
Definitely agree. Love that take. Let's go ahead and move on to the Packers and the Falcons. I think this is a very interesting game here. Both head coaches actually used to be on the same staff for the Tennessee Titans. So I think that's a very interesting matchup, as you can see there, because Tennessee just 3 years ago, I mean, at that point in time, this was the year before Julio Jones got there. A.J. Brown was a rookie. I thought that was easily the best offense I've ever seen the Titans have. Matt LaFleur leaves, of course. Arthur Smith leaves, of course, goes to Atlanta, and ever since those coordinators have left, the offense has just not been the same. But for the Packers and Falcons, I mean, I see you guys' offense are maturing and getting better week after week, and let's go straight into Mr. Jordan Love. Impressive week 1. Will it be more of the same? Honestly, I think so, because you do have Matt LaFleur that is there that will make sure that you don't go out there and go do too much. And I'm liking what I'm seeing with this Packers team. I did pick them to win last week against the Bears. I'm also going ahead and pick them again this week to beat the Falcons, not because the Falcons are a bad team. I think the Falcons really are a good team. My question for this year, comparison to last year's, can you get those games done with when it comes to a one score possession type of game? Can you go from being 500, 5-5 in one score games to being 8-3, right? 9-2. Can you do that? If you can do that, then you could become a serious contender in the NFC. But for right now, I'm gonna have to take the Packers in this game. Ish.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're a person who likes smash mouth, we're gonna run the ball straight at you, football. This is the game for you today. Because both of these teams, that's what they want to do. They want to come out, they want to run the ball, establish the run, and then they're gonna work their passes, screens off of the run game. But both teams on offense really want to establish that run, and then that's what sets everything else up. I just think ultimately the Falcons are still building towards a team that is going to be competing. The Packers are also building, but I think they have the pieces there. They've had the pieces there. They have a better, to me, they have a better support system. They have a better history as a team. And I think that they just have the makeup of a team that when they come into these kind of games where it's both teams trying to run the ball, hit you in the mouth, we're going to set the tone. I think Green Bay for me just has the edge. Their defense is a little bit better to me. They're going to match up better on the outside with the wide receivers, the tight ends, because heaven knows that the Atlanta Falcons don't know how to use Kyle Pitts at all.
Yeah, which is very disappointing to see Kyle Pitts just out there just running amok in this beautiful. I like the system. I just don't understand why they're not getting the ball to Kyle Pitts. I don't understand it. Greg asked the question. I know it's early to tell, but do you think Jordan Love is the real deal? Ish.
When you say real deal, what do you mean? Is he the next Aaron Rodgers? I mean, I don't think so.
I mean, people thought the same thing about Aaron Rodgers being the next Brett Favre, right? He
Yeah,
ended up being
yeah. I
better.
mean, is he the next Aaron Rodgers? Yeah, it's too early to tell that. Is he a solid quarterback in it? Can he be a solid quarterback in the NFL? I think that based off his performance against Chicago, going into Chicago and playing that way, yeah, he could be a solid quarterback in the NFL, solid starter, moving forward. He reminds me of like a Jimmy G, someone in the mold like that, an Alex Smith, someone that can he make plays. He could be a solid guy for the Packers and just make plays.
I
And
look
he's
at it.
got
I look at
weapons.
him as an early version of Teddy Bridgewater before the injuries.
Mm. I think he pushed the ball down the field a little more than Teddy ever has.
Okay, yeah. I'm not mad. Again, I'm not mad at that. I'm just looking at just the concept of not great, not bad, not
Yeah, but
a
good.
lot better
Yeah,
than good, but
yeah.
just in that middle between good and great, and really just all depends on him putting in that work on if he wants to be great or not. I think being with the Packers is a great position to be in because of their historic this of quarterback positions of
I
quarterback.
just got an update.
Uh oh,
Aaron Jones is out.
uh oh.
Yeah, so Aaron Jones is out for the Packers today.
Might have to
That
make
just came through.
might have to
So.
make some switches there. Might have to ride them high, Cowboy. I don't know. We'll see.
Mm.
You know what? I'm riding. I'm doubling down on Jordan Love. Greg asks right here. This is live. It's all live right now. Greg asks about Jordan Love. I'm gonna say it right now. Even without Aaron Jones, Jordan Love finds a way to
Okay.
win this game due to him making a last drive performance to win the game. That's what I'm gonna say right here on Next Talking Ish. Because people think I'll be riding the fence. I don't ride the fence, damn it, okay? I see everything as a whole, and I gotta see it as a whole first, and then after that, I gotta give it to you.
Yeah, you
Can't
always
just be
riding
out
the
here
fence.
just giving out hot takes like they pancakes. I can't do that, baby. I gotta give you the real.
You always riding the fence.
All right, let's go ahead and shut your ass up. Let's go ahead and move on to the Seahawks and the Lions. Another interesting matchup, just due to how both teams are coming into this matchup. I'll let you go.
Yeah, looking at this, like you said, contrasting viewpoints coming into this game. You got the Seahawks coming off of a divisional loss and really a shellacking at home, and you got the Lions coming off a high of being able to go into the defending champions home and beat them on national TV, the season opening game. I think I'm gonna double down on the Lions today. The Lions gonna win this game. I think that for me, it has all the makings of a Lions victory. They're at home. They, like the Chiefs, had a little bit longer to prepare because they played on that Thursday night.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they have the confidence. They're all saying it. This ain't the same Lions. This ain't the same Lions. Hey, well, today you better go prove it. You at home against the
Yeah,
Seahawks.
you better
You
go
better go
prove it.
prove
We're
it
gonna be
that this
talking
ain't the
real
same
quick.
Lions.
Yeah.
But no, matchup wise, I just like it better. I think that it's going to be a great matchup with the Seahawks secondary versus the Lions receiving core and the running backs. And it's going to be interesting to see how Jared Goff performs following his performance in Kansas City. For the Seahawks, I just need to see what is their identity. I need to see more from Geno Smith. Is he riding last year a little too high? Is he still riding a little too high from last year? And we're not quite seeing the same hunger and drive that we saw last year. So it'll be a big game for him, and I'm looking for a bounce back. But I just don't think it happens in Detroit.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that take at all for myself. I'm going with the Seahawks mainly because of, like Ish said last week, to get that shellacking against the Rams at home when I'm pretty sure a lot of people thought, oh, the Rams will have Cooper Cup. Oh, they're not what they used to be. The Rams are just, they're going to be a mediocre team. But I'm going to come into Seattle, and let's remind everybody, Seattle is a very, very tough place to go into and get a win. Like, Seattle is not a punk when it comes to their home field advantage. I'm not even just talking about the 12th man. I'm just talking about, for whatever reason, it just seems like it's some mysterious things that go on in Seattle anytime you play out there. If you don't believe me, go ask Russell Wilson and the Packers. So when it comes to the Seahawks, I think, like is stated, whatever is or is not going on with Geno Smith, they need to figure it out real quick. I think the Seahawks depend on their running game for this game to establish the running game first. Because I feel as though, because the Seahawks have so many now new weapons to play with on the offensive side of the ball, they're going to try to, Geno Smith threw for 4,000 yards last year. Let's go ahead and just keep throwing the ball. No, let's establish the run first. The run is, of course, what's going to allow everything else to open up. Now that everything else is opening up, now we have Jackson Smith-Njigba on a one-on-one matchup. Now we have, of course, Tyler Lockett on one-on-one matchups, and that will allow Geno Smith numbers to go back up to those 4,000 passing yard range. But for the Lions, I want to see, like you said, Ish, it's not so much about how much time they have to prepare for this game. Can you get your mind mentally off of your Super Bowl week one and get back to the NFL season? Because I love my uncle and all, but I don't want to have to rub it in his face that the Lions lost to the Seahawks week two after the beating the Chiefs. So we'll see what happens, how that all plays off. Texans and Colts. Let's just be honest. Really not too much to talk about in this game when it comes to these two teams are in the position of rebuilding and probably won't be a decent team for another at least 2 more years. But I am excited, and I have been excited since the offseason for my boy Anthony Richardson. I hope nothing but the best for him. This is a matchup between two, of course, first-round draft picks in this past draft for the Colts and the Texans. One of the quarterbacks was C.J. Stroud. Looks like he's battling some shoulder injury at the moment, and also a lot of other players on the Texans roster. And if we're being honest with you, Ish, and everybody that's tuning in, that's just what happens after you play against a Ravens team. I mean, you're going to get beat up. That's the AFC North for you. No matter what team you play, you're going to feel the after effects after that game, and the Texans are feeling that at the moment. Colts coming into Houston as a one-dog underdog. I don't understand what that one, from being honest with you, is, because I would expect that this line to either be even or the Colts to be favored. So for myself, I'm taking the Colts. I expect Anthony Richardson to have a big game on the air. Oh, I can't speak right now. In the air and on the ground. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about our bets in a second. But for the most part, if the Colts don't take care of this game, then it might be a very long season for the Colts.
Yeah, Yeah, you mentioned a lot of people dealing with injuries. The big one you didn't mention, Laramie Tunsil, likely out for this game. And if Laramie Tunsil is out, they struggled last week with the pressure
They
on
did.
CJ
They did
Stroud.
state if Laramie Tunsil was out this game, they might go ahead and just pull Stroud.
I mean, I probably would because we all know the Colts get up when it comes to playing Houston, especially in Houston for some reason.
They
I
just
know they
lucky
don't have
T.Y. Hilton
Ty.
not playing. Yeah.
I know they don't have Ty, but it doesn't matter. I expect a big day from Anthony Richardson, and I expect a long day for Houston offensively. With Laramie Tunsil being out, that offensive line didn't need any more injuries. They're already dealing with enough as is. It's going to be a nightmare. They're going to have to do a lot of quick game, a lot of screens, try to get the ball out quickly, try to move misdirection. I don't know. There's going to have to be a tight game plan offensively for Houston to even have a chance. I don't think that they are going to do anything at all. It's going to be another miserable
Even at
Sunday here
home
in
too.
Houston.
Even at
It's going to be
home.
another miserable Sunday here in Houston.
Ooh, I don't know. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe the Texans might pull it out. We'll see what happens. Fracture One that says sit Stroud and let Mills be the dummy for the day. Might have to
He
agree
already
with
got a
that.
shoulder injury.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Bears and the Buccaneers. Ish, I'll let you take this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's kind of a must bounce back for the Bears. I think after taking that whooping that they took in Chicago last week, after all the hype in the offseason and everybody talking about Justin Fields and how they added these receivers, and oh, look, they're going to be able to move the ball. Oh, he's better than Jalen Hurts. Yeah, that performance last week. Whoo, man, brought you right back down to earth. You are the same old Bears that you have been for the past couple of years. And the Buccaneers, meanwhile, on the other end of the spectrum, everybody was talking about, oh, Tom Brady gone. They're going to be horrible. You know, when is Tybo's going to be fired? And they only went into Minnesota, who's favored to win the North, and they convincingly beat them. Let's just say that. Like they convincingly beat that team. So we got to sit here and think Chicago going into Tampa Bay, probably an easy Tampa Bay win. I'm going to say not so fast. I think that the Bears are going to bounce back. I think the Bears are going to be able to bounce back. I think that Tampa Bay has the makings of a very up and down team. And when I say that, it's just I don't know that they'll be able to find the consistency to perform week in and week out. I think they're very much a team of emotion, and the emotion's high right now. I think they're going to be feeling good, and I think the Bears are going to be motivated because it was a lot of hype around them, and there were a lot of expectations. And this offense did not show their full potential. They got some weapons on the offensive side. They can run and throw the ball, and I expect to see a better game plan coming out in Tampa Bay on the road. I expect them to find a way to squeak out a tight one, um, and a couple mistakes from Baker Mayfield. How about that?
Like you talked about with the Buccaneers, when it comes to being a team kind of riding on emotions and going probably up and down throughout this whole season, you have to look at their leader at the quarterback position. I mean, it is what it is, and I'm no shade to Baker Mayfield. It's just he will tell you straight up he plays off of emotions. Like he's the type of guy that's going to go out there and play emotional. Sometimes it works out great for him, like it did last week. Sometimes it might make him put his foot in his mouth, like it might be this upcoming game. I have the Bears, not so much for that the Bears are just that much better than the Bucks. Like it said, you got to bounce back. If you don't bounce back from this game, I'm gonna be
When will
looking
you?
real bad as well because I talked about how Justin Fields is gonna play a lot better this season. They got better pieces. They got this. They got that. Stop hating on Justin Fields. And I don't even care for that red team below Michigan, but I think he's one of the better quarterbacks to come out of that facility. But it just seems like it's not translating at the moment for whatever reason. But this needs to be the game. And the player to look out for that's going to need to step up or probably get the hell out of the league, and that's Chase Claypool.
Yeah, Chase Claypool.
That's Chase Claypool. He's
Yep.
supposed to be the number 2 for that team, and he's not even the number 20 at the moment. Okay. They only have 6 receivers on the roster. So if Chase Claypool does not become the person that they are expecting him to be, one, he won't be in the Bears next season. And two, don't be surprised at all if the next team that he goes to might be the last team that he's ever played for in the NFL. Greg says, Bucks with the win. Justin Fields is not that guy. It is what it is. Also, Fracture Wanna says, Bucks sneaky winners of the NFC South. I just think it's just too early to say that right now. The Saints, because of who, and then they have Kamara coming back still. If the Saints lose the division, that I don't know what to say, because there should be no reason why the Saints don't. The only team I think has a chance is the Falcons. Other than that, I can't see the Bucks sneaking on in there. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Giants and the Cardinals. Really ain't too much to talk about. We did see that the Cardinals were a little bit more competitive than I thought they were going to be in Washington last week. But if things are the way that we think that they are, and in the late, great Mr. Dennis Green will say, of course, they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook. I think that's what's going to happen with the Giants. I think the Cardinals, for whatever reason, they are going to be like the Texans of last year. They're going to make things competitive, and then you're going to get a call from up top and say, hey, I'm going to need you to make sure Dobbs throw a couple of incompletions this upcoming drive. I don't need us to be moving the ball like we used to in that first half, okay? And the Cardinals will find a way to lose this game. That's the only reason why I'm picking the Giants. I don't think the Giants are that good. I think they are still riding off of their last season, but I'll let, of course, our boy, Mr. Danny Dimes, president of the Danny Dimes fan club, Ishmael, go.
This is a must-win for New York. It's a must-win. After that beatdown that you took, not even a beatdown, after that, I mean, criminal assault that you received at the hands of the Dallas Cowboys, because they should be thrown in jail for the way they beat y'all down, okay? You have to go out there and win this game. There is no question about it. If they lose this game, you got to think about it. They play in the NFC East. They're going to have to play Dallas again. They still got Philly twice. They got Washington twice. Like this, if you lose this game, this has the makings of maybe the Giants going to have the first pick. Maybe they need to tank for Caleb Williams and give Danny Dimes a break and let him move on and go somewhere else, because Danny can't carry.
You just paid the man, though. You just paid the man. How you going?
Listen. It is clear. Huh? It's clear and obvious. Danny can't carry these guys all the way.
Oh, Lord. Danny Lord. Are we flipping and we flopping on the Danny?
He can't lead in rushing and throw to himself. He needs some help.
All right, Giselle Bundchen. Okay.
So I need to see Saquon Barkley step up. Jalen Hyatt. What's his name? What was the other receiver that they recently brought in? The name slipped me, but all of the receiving. Let's just say all the Giants receivers. I need something else. Something, please. Something. Because if they go out there and start off as flat as they did against Dallas, Arizona gonna win this game. If they start off like they did against Dallas, Arizona will win this game, because Arizona is clearly trying to make people believe that they aren't tanking for Caleb. Even though they're tanking for Caleb, they got to convince Caleb that he still wants to come to Arizona, so they can't quite tank completely, right?
True. The wide receiver, you might be talking about Paris Campbell, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah.
Cole Beasley joined the.
They picked up a number of.
Cole Beasley hasn't done anything for about 4 or 5
years.
Speed
was the talk of the, Speed has been the talk in the offseason. Oh, we got a lot faster. Yeah, I didn't see it against Dallas. I did not see that against Dallas.
Fresh Runner says Kelsey on pitch count today.
Yeah.
He says hope nothing happens. Like I said, for myself, it's really not too much to even talk about besides the Giants should win this game. If they don't, then
they don't have a first pick.
I don't know about all that. We'll have to talk about that later on. But
they don't have the first pick.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the NFC West and this very, very, I think one of the better matchups and rivalries we've seen that doesn't get enough coverage as it probably should. 49ers and Rams. As we talked about the Rams taking care of business in Seattle last week, are they able to continue this and maybe party like it's 19 20 29 or whatnot, and I'm being sarcastic, everybody. I'm talking about 2021 party like it's 2021, when the last time, obviously, when they won the Super Bowl. um I believe more in the 49ers than I do the Rams. That's mainly the reason why I'm picking the 49ers, because I just don't know. Like, I don't know if this is real or not. Like, I don't know if Matt Stafford is, of course, going to play well for 6 games out of 17, or if he's going to play well for 14 out of 17, because really we're trying to figure out how bad that elbow is, right? It seems like that elbow was causing him pain last year. It looks like he's okay and he's back to Matt Stafford, but reality is this season is a marathon and not a sprint, so we'll have to see how this all plays out for the Rams. But for the 49ers, I mean, they went into Pittsburgh and took care of business, and made it seem like they were playing against kids. So for right now, I think that for them to have 2 road games to start the season, even though this one could be also a home game for them, because we do know how 49er fans like to travel. I think they take care of business in the Rams' house, aka 49ers Levi Stadium, for the time being. And this might be the team to compete against the Eagles in the NFC Conference Championship game. We might have our top 2 teams in the NFC. Like, it might not even be close. Cowboys, obviously, they're there too, but if the 49ers and Eagles are on all cylinders like we think they will be in the back half of the season, that's probably the conference championship game ish.
Yeah, I mean, the 49ers look like the team that can go all the way to the conference championship game again, and potentially all the way to the Super Bowl. They haven't missed a beat. They look just as hungry, just as poised as they have been every other time. Let's not forget that they have had the Rams number historically, which under the Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan era, there was the 6 wins in a row. We all know that piece. So yeah, I just think that it's going to be another day of Kyle Shanahan getting the best of Sean McVay and the 49ers winning this game.
All righty, then let's move on to the Jets and the Cowboys. Now, of course, before the season started, this was a hell of a matchup to look forward to. Aaron Rodgers versus Dak in Dallas. Of course, the one location where he won a Super Bowl, and all the storylines and the hoopla and the blah, 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 blah. And unfortunately, now we get Zach Wilson. No disrespect to Zach Wilson, but all disrespect to Zach Wilson, because this is not the matchup that we want to see. I'm gonna be honest with you, Ish. I'm not sugarcoating this at all. Because of the performance we saw last week with the Cowboys, it should be no reason why they lose to the Jets. If they lose to the Jets, like, it's certain games, Ish, I'm looking out for to see if y'all lose these games. I know it's the NFL and things get wacky every week. I understand all that. But there are some games where you have to crush their necks. There should be no reason why the Jets should even cover this spread. The only reason why they cover the spread is if they make Dallas turn the ball over, and that defense shows up like it should.
Yep.
That's the only reason why this game is close. Offensively, I don't know if they are. If I'm the Jets, if I'm Nathaniel Hackett, you have to establish a running game. Get Brees Hall going, get Dalvin Cook going. Do not allow Zach Wilson to get in his own head and throw stupid ass passes and mess up his psyche in the first quarter, first half of the game. If you slow down that pass rush, obviously with screens, obviously with counters, shit, even toss the ball. Get this defense flowing from end to end just to tire them out. So when the second half gets here, it allows you to then now we see the whole football field, where we can run, we can pass, we can do play action, we can do a plethora of things, because we now have this defense on their heels instead of on their toes. That's the only way the Jets win this game. Other than that, it's Cowboys by at least 3 touchdowns. That's just All disrespect. I
Wow.
mean, that's how it should be. If
Wow.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just
I don't
listen.
know that I'm gonna go out on the limb and say Cowboys by 3 touchdowns,
I'm
but
just saying again.
um,
If Diggs and Gilmore, I'm just saying they probably.
okay, listen. I expect it to be a really good defensive battle on both sides, right? I expect both of these defenses, probably two of the best defenses in the league. Um, I expect them both to come out and show out today. I just have more faith in the Dallas offense being able to find put a couple drives together to score some points than I do Zach Wilson and the Jets. And I say that with all due respect. I think that Brees Hall and Dalvin Cook, like you said, if they can get a little bit of momentum there, it could help open up some of the pass game. And they don't have slouches at wide receiver. But at the same time, we saw what this pass rush was able to do to Daniel Jones in week one. If they even bring a fraction of that to week two game, I expect Zach Wilson to be back there panicking. And yes, I expect maybe one, two, three interceptions from this Dallas defense just by the pressure alone. So I don't know about 3 touchdowns, but I do think Dallas is able to pull this off and win probably by 10.
You hear that, everybody? When it comes to interceptions, if you're a betting person, go ahead and take the over for interception for Zach Wilson because it might get downright ugly for Zach. All right, Commanders and Broncos. Again, the theme of the night. Bounce back for the Broncos for the most part. Commanders, they took care of business last week. Can the Broncos can they bounce back and at home as well too? It's that's the main reason why I'm picking them. Other than you know, I think Commanders they're going to do what they're going to do as and be a sneaky team in the NFC East. I don't think they win it. I think they come in third, but they're built to win a game like this on the road. My question is for the Broncos is are y'all going to step up and are y'all going to finally find a way to play football this season? Because if not, scored 16 points last week, right? If you score less than 20 points again this game, there's gonna be some cause for concern, and we're gonna have to. I mean, who? When are we gonna start doing the whole finger pointing thing is and start blaming whoever? I mean, that's it might get ugly in Denver before it start getting better. They might need to start having Coach Prime come up to Denver's games or whatnot to get these guys going or something because it's not working so far. It's
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm not taking much of the week one performance by Washington into account because I think that's one of the few times this season that they'll be clear favorites in the game going into that. That is not their identity. Their identity is not to go be a clear favorite. Their identity is to be the underdog. And like you said, they're built to win these types of games. Going on the road, you're not favored, and you're going to go in there and you're going to just grind out a tough victory. I my question for Denver is offensively, what are you gonna do? Um, it just it doesn't seem like even I was expecting with Sean Payton coming in to see a little more offensively from Denver, and I just didn't see that in week one. It just looks disjointed. It looks like they don't really know what they want to do. It looks like they don't know if they can establish the run. Are they gonna be able to pass with Russell Wilson? Who does Russell Wilson like to throw to? Like, there's just so many questions on that offensive side of the ball for Denver that I'm looking at them I'm like, man, this defense is actually fairly good. If you could just figure it out on offense, you might actually be able to put something together. But on the offensive side, for some reason, over the last two coaches, they just haven't been able to do it. I know it's one game for Sean Payton. I'm not overreacting. I'm just saying until I start to see something from them as far as an identity, start to see, some progress, start to see them, actually show something to me. I don't know that I can pick the Broncos even at home because I thought I could last week, expecting to see this Sean Payton magic, and it never appeared. So because Washington is the kind of team that it should go in and win this kind of game, right? A, a hard fought game, a game on the road. I think they're going to do it. I think they have that identity, that Ron Rivera, like blue collar mentality that they're going to go into Denver and they're going to grind out a win. The matchup again for me, McLaurin, PS2. Sam Howell, people want to see, is this the guy that can move this team into the future? Let's remember, let's put it into perspective. This next draft class is deep at the quarterback position.
Loaded.
Maybe even as deep as people are trying to make it seem, because there are some guys they're putting in these conversations that's
that
like,
ain't gonna be
really,
there.
come on now,
Yeah.
let's slow it down a little bit.
Relax.
But at the same time, because that perception is out there, a lot of these teams with these young quarterbacks that they're giving opportunities to, this is your chance. This is make or break. You got to show something. Even Russell Wilson, I think if he doesn't perform this year, Denver could be drafting a quarterback.
Oh yeah.
Washington, Denver, Atlanta. I'm looking at these teams and I'm saying, hey, you have got to perform at the quarterback position or your job could be gone at the end of the season.
Now, what you forgot about is when it comes to Sean Payton's magic, it doesn't appear; it disappears, and that's what happened. There was no touchdowns being scored. There was no points being put on the board that we thought we were going to get with Sean Payton's offense. So again, we'll see if that magic appears, because
I hope so.
It disappeared last week. All right, so go ahead and move on to the Sunday Night Football game, the Dolphins versus the Patriots. I think this is a very interesting matchup besides being division rivals. I think it's very interesting because if you're looking at the way that the Dolphins are using Tyreek Hill now in this season, and I was watching a little bit of film on how they were utilizing him against the Chargers, they are exploiting the hell out of motion, and there's nothing bad at that at all. I'm just looking at it as in, damn, they're doing something that I don't know why I don't know why NFL teams haven't done with speedy guys for a long time now, and that's don't put them on matchups where they're going to allow defenders to put their hands on them at the line, motion them out, move them around, and then Tyreek Hill gets a running start while he's motioning. And once he gets not even just 2 or 3 feet on, once you get a foot on past you, it's a wrap. And they did that throughout the whole game. And I want to see if they're going to continue to do that against this secondary. Ish, you talked about that with matchups all throughout the day. This is the matchup I'm looking for. I want to see Tyreek Hill by himself versus Bill Belichick in the defense, because we already know Bill Belichick is not going to allow Tyreek Hill to beat him. So what does that mean? That means Tyreek Hill is probably going to be a lot more of a decoy this game, and we're going to need to see Jalen Waddle step up. That's the way I'm looking at it. I think that Tyreek Hill, he's going to get hit. I think he'll get minimum 80 yards receiving just because of who he is. But this is the Jalen Waddle game. This is the game for Jalen Waddle to be able to have to minimum get 125 yards for the Dolphins, I think, to come into New England to win this game.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that about it being a Jalen Waddle game, because leading up to this game and this week, there was articles put out about Christian Gonzalez, the rookie cornerback for New England. They call him the silent assassin.
And all
yes,
I saw that.
Maybe there's no better time, depending on your outlook. Maybe there's no better time, or you could have waited a little bit. Maybe it could be the worst time for that article to come out, because here's the matchup. Mr. Silent Assassin, I want to see you silently assassinate Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle or whoever you covering this week. You better be locking them down, because this is the matchup here. If you can't slow them down, this is a blowout. I think the New England offense did well last week. They had more yards than Philly. They only had 2 turnovers, 1 interception from Mac Jones. He played solid. He played what you can expect from Mac Jones, right? He played a solidly decent game.
Mac Jones football, that's what he played.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I expect from him, right? So if that's what you're expecting, you got to think, well, this defense definitely got to hold this Miami team under 21, right? Like if it's over 21, it's done. It's done
I'm
for.
thinking 2025. I mean, they're gonna put up 21. Like I don't think that's. I think
Well, then it's done
the
for.
mark
I
is
think,
like 26, 28, right?
dude, I think if it's 21, if they score over 21 points, oh, it's done. Like New England's not. I don't think New England's scoring over 21 here.
No, I agree with you there.
Like I think the cap I'm putting on New England is 21. They can
I
stay.
mean, but
New England can score
I
3
think
touchdowns.
though New England can find a way to get a defensive touchdown or even a special teams touchdown that can help propel them to get 21 points. That's why I want to say the line is 26, maybe even 28. Because I
Okay.
don't know if you remember hearing that in the Colorado State game, they said
Yeah.
Dre Norville said, "Hey, as long as we get to 34, we can win this game." But we saw that didn't happen. But
Well,
for the Patriots, if they can hold the Dolphins to under maybe 26, again, maybe then they can win that game.
maybe they can. That's the hope, right? I don't see it happening though.
But as everybody can see, we both have the Miami Dolphins winning this game on Sunday night. Um, I think that's a great way to end the game, or sorry, end the Sunday is a game like that. Hopefully, it lives up to that
I hope
divisional
it's
hype.
closer than. Yeah, I hope it's closer than we expect. I think
I hope
that.
so too. All right, before we get out of here today, I'll go ahead and sling y'all my prize picks bets for today. I am not.
Wait. We didn't talk about last week. How did last week go?
We lost.
Oh.
You don't need to talk about losses. We talk about Dubs around here. Play by. Anyways, if I was a betting man, let's go ahead and see them prize picks for today. And as always, if y'all want to join in on the fun, go ahead and copy that promo code PR-JVA61PN and join in on the fun. Now, I have two cards today. I have two lines that I want to share and showcase with everybody. For the game, this is actually for the game. I have Tyler. Is it Algier? I want to say it's Algier.
Yeah.
Okay, make sure I say it. Al Geyer. There you go. Thank you, Al Geyer. For the Falcons. Now, even though of course all the hoopla is on Bijan. Thank you. I almost forgot his name. Algier. I can't say his name correctly.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm not Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler.
He get his as well too. He's somebody that's going to get his. He's not somebody that's going to sit back and let Bijan just get all of his without make sure that he is his. So I have him going over 60.5 rushing and receiving yards against Green Bay. As Saquon, less than 17 rushing attempts. If you look at his rushing attempts in the last 5 games, he hasn't gone more than 16. So if that's the case, I want to go ahead and
less than 17.
I want to take that less than 17 because we already know the Giants going to try to sling that thing all around the field. I have Anthony Richardson, not just passing, but also rushing for more than 240. I think that's something that can happen against the Texans. And, of course, we will take it to the Texans. And I think on the defensive side, because it's a combo pick right here of sacks with Will Anderson Jr. and Jonathan Greenard. Just need one. Just need one between those two. I think it can happen, or half between two. There you go, Ish. I think it can happen with a guy like Anthony Richardson. I'm not saying again he's not going to elude sacks, but I think one of these plays he will sit back there a little too long, and Will Anderson Jr. will welcome him to the AFC South. Now, the second one that I have here, this is the first half play. The reason why I like this is because if you remember the first game of the season, the Lions and the Chiefs, there were a lot of upset Lions fans and even sports fans that were watching and tuning in and saying, why in the hell y'all not giving the ball more to Gibbs? Gibbs, right? And a lot of people probably might be right. And the Lions already stated that we're working him in. We're going to get him more touches. Don't worry. And for the first half, I think this might be a game where this might be his breakout game. Again, in the first half. So all you need is more than 6 fantasy points. So either a touchdown, 40-something yards. I think it's possible for Gibbs in that first half. Again, back to Anthony Richardson. First half play. Again, 7.5 fantasy points. That's all you need. Touchdown, rushing, this, down, and third. Think that's easy.
I think that's easy.
Exactly. If I miss that, then I just don't need to play this thing anymore. Calvin Ridley, first half. Again, we talked about Calvin Ridley versus the Chiefs. I told you I was going to save this for you, Ish. I think this is a matchup that Calvin Ridley can exploit in the first half. It will take full advantage of. And we're going back to the AFC South for the Texans with Nico Collins. He has really not put up that great of fantasy points over the last 6-7 games now.
Man.
And for the first half, if he gets more than 4.5 fantasy points, because for all of a sudden they just want to start throwing the ball, Nico, I'm going to go down to NRG myself and somebody getting slapped. I'll tell you that right now. It should be no reason why his ass get more than 4.5 fantasy
touchdown
points.
In the first half.
Boy, if that happens, please text me so I can just throw my phone away.
Book it right here. Nico Collins with a touchdown in the first half.
Oh, Lord. All right. As always, as y'all can see, go ahead and join us on the fun for Prize Picks. Go ahead and make y'all a little bit of money that I'm not making on my end. Other than that, please go ahead and tune in with us on Tuesday as we recap week 2. Mm-hmm. And we will see who's right, who's wrong, and what games surprised us and what games we said, hey, that's how it was going to be. So with that being said, we'll see y'all on Tuesday. Y'all enjoy y'all Sunday slate of games. Don't forget, though, Monday Night Football, we have not 1 but 2 games on that Monday night slate. We'll have our picks on Monday. We won't discuss it today. We will recap, of course, everything on Tuesday, and we'll go from there. So as always, thank y'all for tuning in to X Talking Ish. We will see y'all on Tuesday.